Welcome to Rick's Scale Model Fix, and today we're taking a look at Academy's brand new 1/72nd scale F-35B. So as you can see from the box top, we've got some lovely digital artwork there of the aircraft approaching the carrier deck, and on the box sides we have some photos of the completed model. On the other side we have sort of colour call outs and some multilingual instructions. So without further ado, let's get the top off the box and let's have a look inside. So we're at the workbench now. Let's take the top off the box. This is the first time I've looked in this kit. I've got some paperwork as usual. Checks with part list before unsealing. Replace and return not guaranteed when plastic is unsealed. So we've got 1, 2, 3 bags of plastic parts, decal sheet, instruction booklet and some other literature. So let's take a look at the paperwork first. Do's and don'ts for modelling and product list. So looking at the instructions, we've got box art repeated. We've got a whole host of colour call out reference at the bottom here. So we have Humbrol, guns, life colour, tester, Revel, Vallejo and AK Interactive. So shouldn't be too much of a problem cross-referencing to your favourite brand. You can assemble vertical takeoff or landing, so there's 2 options in the kit. It's a different style of instructions that I've seen from Academy in the past, so you need to choose from the beginning whether you want it in flight or not, or on the ground. So we've got some spacer bars and strengthening plates to remove from the fuselage in section 1 first, so that's just going to help us make sure that the fuselage retains its rigidity. Looking like we're adding the undercarriage main gear bays and then a whole interior section into the lower fuselage, which will contain the bomb bays. Air intakes and engine can be built in the sort of downward position or the straight in flight position. Again, a little bit more interior detail with the engine parts going into a bulkhead that forms up the rear section of the airframe, with the intakes then going into the lower surface, I'm assuming there. Jumping over to page 5, and we've got the cockpit. So multi-party jet to seat, cockpit tub, we've got the lift fans, cockpit tub and front end going onto the fuselage, and the 2 fuselage halves, so the pancakes if you like, coming together. So again, the first note, whether you want vertical takeoff or landing, so position the flaps accordingly with a nose cone. Undercarriage going on, clear windows, strange looking pod, I'll have to check what that is. Undercarriage doors, lift fan doors and exhaust doors, weapons bay doors and pylons going on. Nice weapons fit, got plenty of stuff there to hang under the wing. So again, more options in yellow highlighted here for whether you want it vertical takeoff or landing or in flight. So you got this large barn door that covers the intakes for the lift fan arrangement, or you can have all the doors closed. It should preserve the line of the aircraft actually, that should look quite nice. Bomb bays open or closed. More undercarriage doors and the like to go on. Pitot tubes and then canopy, so it looks like a clear part over an internal frame. That should look really quite detailed. So got the instruction, the decals, colour placement guides at the back of the book, instruction booklet. So it's interesting to note there that Academy do call out for number 11, which is gunship grey, 36118 instead of the correct colour scheme of camouflage grey, which is 36170. I've just built the Italeri kit and used the MRP paint set for that, and it came out quite nice. So we've got VMF A211 USS Essex, and another one for VMFAT 501 USS Wasp, and that's in 2019 as well. So three, despite the box logo saying it's the Green Knights, there are 3 marking options provided in the kit. Turning our attention now to the decal sheet, we can see that it's well printed. It says it's printed in Korea, and it's got all the RAM tape outlines. Save masking those. They look to be a little bit more in keeping with the current modern production aircraft that have the darker RAM tape rather than the lighter colours that were seen on the earlier aircraft, giving it that distinctive patchwork look. Turning our attention to the plastic parts, the bag was actually open for these, so we've got a duplicate sprue E, which contains pylons, JDAMs, AIM 9X and some AIM 120s. So these look to be well produced. Faultless moulding. Should look good if you choose to use those on the aircraft. And then we have the front lower nose section, which is broken free, and I'm just having a look at that RAM detail there. Hopefully the camera can pick that up. And it is not recessed like the Hasegawa kit, but it's nowhere near as over exaggerated as the Italeri kit, so a bit of a halfway between the two. It'll probably look okay actually. So we've got sprue A, which contains the fuselage sections and some of the weapons doors, undercarriage doors, etc. So the first thing that's striking is the clean, crisp nature of the tooling. The RAM panels on the top of the airframe are actually just very, very slightly raised. They're certainly not overdone, I don't think. Just a little bit more than the engraved detail found on the Hasegawa kit, but not as pronounced as the really raised detail on the Italeri kit. So it's looking quite nice. I'm sure it'll fit quite well. And we have the sprue with the flight controls on tails, sprue C. We've got some undercarriage bays and details for the internal of the fuselage and that radome nose, quite pointy. This detail's okay for the scale. We've got, I won't say it was accurate, but certainly got some detail in there. So we've got sprue D, which has got the cockpit tub and the exhaust with the sort of hinged item and the straight extended in flight version. Got some tyres and that canopy framework. That should look really nice on the kit when it's completed and give a bit of depth to the clear parts. Nice to see that Academy have put a protective plastic shroud around that. Sprue B, and we have that main weapons bay insert that attached itself to the lower fuselage. We've got some GBUs down there, intake parts and some more doors and the flaps. And last but not least, I'm not going to remove it. Unlike the Italeri kit, which was tinted basically yellow, this is clear. So if you do want to replicate the tint that's seen on some of the aircraft, then you're going to have to do that yourself. And the little under nose clear part there as well. I'll not remove those from the sprue. So there we have Academy's 1/72nd scale F-35B. So the question has to be, how does the Academy kit stack up to its, what I would class its two main competitors, which would be the Italeri kit and the Hasegawa kit? So I've got a Hasegawa kit here on the bench, and this is quite the basic version, so it's not the beast mode kit, so it won't have the weapons in it. I have actually started this, and it's when it first came out, and I've got it to the painting stage. In terms of detail, it is very basic. There's no open weapons bay, and the cockpit is an insert that drops in, but the panel line and the detailing is quite restrained, and all the RAM panels are depicted as engraved panel lines, and the kit's coming with a monstrous decal sheet for the lighter coloured RAM tape. So a fair competitor to the Academy kit, but will nonetheless a basic build. So the Italeri kit is probably the next in terms of major competition for the Academy offering, and it's probably the weakest of the three, in all fairness. The build is lovely. I've just completed this for Scale Aircraft Modelling magazine. It has the benefit of having the RAF markings if you're an English modeller and want to depict an RAF machine or a Royal Navy machine. The surface detail in the RAM panels is really over exaggerated and quite raised, so I'll just bring that in. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. It does build up to be quite a nice attractive kit, and is a worthy contender. It's just that the raised surface detail and the RAM panels do stand out a little bit on the finished model. So there we go. That's the Academy 172nd F-35B, brand new tooling, just released. And to answer the question of how does it stack up in terms against the Hasegawa and Italeri kits, then I would say at this point, from my opinion, and that it is the best in scale. Obviously I've not put the kit together yet, so that could change depending on the build, but for the advantages that it has over the Italeri kit, which is probably the third choice in my opinion, is that the surface detail is more restrained, certainly the RAM panels and the patterns, and it's got a more detailed and comprehensive decal sheet, which will help the modeller. After that, I would say it's second place for the Hasegawa kit, which is in its non-beast mode or its vanilla offering is quite basic, but it has probably more realistic panel and surface detail, and again it's got quite a comprehensive decal sheet there to assist the modeller with the RAM panels. And then it's going to be in third place for the Italeri kit, which sounds quite negative, but it does actually build quite well. The build was faultless, and if it was the only kit on the market, I think a lot of modelers would be happy with what was on offer. So there we go, that's it from Rick's Scale Model Fix. So please, until next time, look after yourself, stay well and take care.